I was in Las Vegas for CNN's GOP debate, and let's just say Bugsy Siegel would have been proud at how they were all trying to rub each other out in this debate. I mean, they were going back and forth. I mean, everybody was hitting everybody, trying to whack somebody. And so here's a taste of the debate and how the Republicans played nice with each other. Yeah, right.
I don't think I've ever hired an illegal in my life. And so I'm afraid, I'm looking forward to finding your facts on that, because that just doesn't...
I'll tell you what the facts are.
Rick, again.
You had them.
Rick, I'm speaking.
The newspaper.
I'm speaking.
Time for you to tell the truth.
You get 30 seconds.
Time for you to tell the truth.
The way the rules work here is that I get 60 seconds.
Well, no, but the American people
and then you get 30 seconds to respond, right?
And they want
Anderson,
to hear you say that you knew
would you please wait?
Working.
Are you just going to keep talking?
Yes,
You're going to let me finish with what I have to say.
They don't like each other.
Roland, I tell you what, this Republican field is breaking Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment. Do not speak ill of another Republican, and they're killing themselves by
But here's the deal, though. I get that.
What you have
but
to
you have to do it because you're running against 7 other people.
Or a caucus. I mean, there's a couple of interesting things out of this. One is Mitt Romney made a mistake that you never make, and that is to call on the moderator to sort of help you. It looks wimpy. You cannot do that, because you know what? In negotiations with the Russians, you can't call on the moderator.
Well, the worst part probably was Congressman Michelle Bachmann constantly raising her hand.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, I think Michelle Bachmann saying, "Mother, may I? Mother, may I?" I mean, she was really in a deficit position because she didn't, and I think part of that was Anderson Cooper, frankly. But I disagree with you guys that it's all in the gutter, it's comical. Yeah. I mean, Newt Gingrich performed well, Ron Paul as always, and I think the problem is is Rick Perry and Romney touching him and calling him. I mean, it was those two that looked idiotic, and it's their feud that's really making the debate.
But it wasn't just those two. I mean, first of all, former Senator Rick Santorum, I mean, he was going off left and right. Then, of course, you had Herman.
What was he going off left and right about?
Oh, first of all, he went off against Cain. He went off against Paul.
But he didn't go off. He's
no.
He had debates. I don't think he went off. I think you're exaggerating.
Santorum wasn't Mr. Nice of the whole time.
Why should he be nice?
He was highly critical of the other opponents. And again, you saw the tensions rise in this debate. And clearly, Perry wanted to come out and be strong and establish up front. His opening comment, "I'm the only authentic conservative." Right there, I said, okay. Yeah. And in the room, though, the crowd actually booed several times. Yes. And so even they were like, okay, guys, you know what? This is probably a little too much.
Well, see, that was the point. Was the whole goal of that was try to knock Mitt Romney off his stride. Everybody says that he's had a ceiling at 23-some-odd%, slow and steady wins the race. He's trying to paint himself as the presumptive nominee. The whole point of that debate was to try to knock him off stride, and the only person with a legitimate chance at knocking that kind of a haymaker was Rick Perry.
Let's deal with Herman Cain. First of all, last week we talked about him, and so he goes into this debate. He's sitting at the top of the polls. Some polls he's ahead of Romney. And look, once he got away from 999, he had some issues in this debate. He had to backtrack on the whole issue of al-Qaeda in Guantanamo Bay. Later in the week, he gave an interview with Piers Morgan where he talked about abortion. Well, he sounded like a pro-choice candidate who also said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but then your personal life, do whatever you want to do. Then he had to backtrack from that, released a statement. It really didn't clarify his position. Are we seeing the glare, the spotlight on Herman Cain, and he's now realizing that, guess what? This is not big boy politics?
You and I talked about this on Tom Joyner the other morning. If Herman Cain's going to be taken seriously, Roland, he's got to stop with these little cutesy things and these little comments and the apples and the oranges and the I'm pro-life, but I'm really pro-choice. He's confused and he's not ready for prime time. And if he's going to be taken seriously, he's got to button up what he says.
Folks in Iowa not happy.
But wait a minute, he is being taken seriously because he's leading the polls in places like South Carolina and South Carolina and Florida. Well, yeah, I actually do believe the polls. So he is. You're right. And by the way, we've had a fairly good track record of these things. But look, let's be clear. Herman Cain is taking up an important space that a lot of people thought Bachmann initially did and hoped that Rick Perry would, and that is that he's becoming the darling of the Tea Party. Look, the Tea Partiers are not in love with Mitt Romney, and they're looking for anyone to sort of fill that void. And if you look at what the Tea Party has done over the last year in Republican primaries, you have to take them seriously in a candidate that they love seriously.
But to Cornell's point, the polls don't lie. He won the straw poll. He's getting 27%.
Bachmann also won a straw poll too.
No. Don't try to poo-poo the straw polls. The fact of the matter is...
I'm saying it's a fact. Bachman won the Ames, Iowa straw poll, and then all of a sudden, since then, she's falling back.
Point, if I can finish what I was saying, he won the Florida straw poll.
But on this show, we're also going to deal with facts.
We do deal with facts. That's what I'm all about, is facts. So 27% 27% Cain is ahead now in the GOP field. You can't lie. That does not, those are facts. And the fact of the matter is, it's not just Tea Party supporting him, Cornell. It's hard-based conservatives, diehard conservatives, and black conservatives supporting Herman Cain. Now,
I'm making the point again, though.
He needs to refine his message.
When you have to backtrack several times in 1 week, and especially on this abortion issue.
Right
now in Iowa, folks are saying, whoa, what in the world is this guy saying? And what I'm saying is,
I think Sophia is right.
You also can't make a point.
Wait a minute.
1 second. You can't make a point about electrocuting folks on the border and then
he
say...
He didn't talk about electrocution. He talked about electric fence.
Okay.
Well,
excuse
he
me.
said
I'm sorry. If I touch it, I get electrocuted. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's right.
But you can't say, I'm sorry, I was joking.
Well, I think the problem is the big issue. What we're seeing is a fundamental lack of discipline, at least lack of campaign discipline. Right. He's managed to make his career as a businessman completely different than running for office, where you have to watch everything you say. People are on your minds.
Whereas Romney's a more skilled debater.
Romney's been running for 5 years.
He needs to move beyond 999. I think that was painfully clear in the last debate. He needs to get very specific about foreign policy. We've already seen his mistakes on Israel with that, and for the Palestinians to get come back to Israel. And I think he needs to get very specific about domestic policy beyond 999. I mean, his campaign is... But that doesn't mean he is not a failed candidate.
Cornell, here's the question for you, though. Can a candidate, though, make a statement and then say, you know what, I wasn't serious, I was joking, but then when you say, make a statement, 2 hours later, oh, I'm sorry, I really didn't understand the question. Well, this keeps happening, that's a problem.
But that's the problem that's most fundamental to, and look, foreign policy and all that other stuff doesn't matter. But for his core sort of conservative Tea Party base, and by the way, he is the leading candidate in Tea Party, and among that base, he cannot seem like he's flip-flopping on hardcore social value issues.
Right.
That's the only thing that matters for him.